Should you follow your passion in content and business? That is a question I have heard so many times, debated by so many different people, and there's always like no real answer to it. So in this video, I want to explain the dilemma of following your passion in content and business. Because look, I've been doing content and business for a while now myself. I've been in this game for more than 2.5 years. I've started 2 different businesses and also tried many different kinds of content, following my passion, not following my passion, following the trends, following what I wanted to do, right? All of the like. And I just want to explain what speaks for following your passion in content and business and what speaks against it. So let me tell you. The people who have the pro argument of following your passion in business, they come with this argument because they want to say, right, if you start a business or do content, anything like that, why wouldn't you do it with your passion involved? It's more fulfilling, it gives you more motivation to work on your goals, and overall you'll be happier. But the people who disagree with that, they will say, yeah, right, you can follow your passion, but what if it changes later? What happens then? Like, let's say, for example, you do golfing all of the time, okay? And you want to start a YouTube channel on golfing. So you do that, you're locked in on it. You create content all of the time. But then a couple years later, like 2 years later, you realize, well, golfing is not really my passion anymore. I like surfing more. And if you've been building this brand of being this golfer, the transition is obviously going to be hard, right? So that is the counter argument against it. So which one do we want to follow if we really want to like make the wisest decision? And I want to give you a viewpoint on this that is a bit different from the ones that you might have heard online, okay? Because I've listened to a podcast pretty recently from Alex Hormozi and Chris Williamson, okay? And they've talked about this in their podcast. One of the things that has really stood out to me is they said, notice the thing that won't change about you over a long period of time. So basically, we are trying to find the root of our passion because generally it's not bad to do a business that has passion involved, right? Like almost every time it's way better than having a business that isn't your passion at all, right? Because you have the actual motivation of working on that one thing and you have this fulfillment, right? I also am a huge believer, okay? So I believe in Jesus Christ, I believe in God. And I also believe that God has given every one of us a passion, or how can I explain this, like a mission on this earth, okay? And if you just completely ignore that and move into something else that you just force yourself to work on because like the profits are higher there, I believe that is a disgrace. And I personally believe that in order to honor God to the best of our abilities, we should take this desire seriously. And even if you're a non-believer watching this, I think you might be able to agree with me, right? Because there is a mission for every human being on this earth. And like some people have found it, some people haven't found it, and some people are in the process of still finding it. Okay? And that is my personal belief. And I don't want to be here like the enlightened one, like, hey, I have found my mission, you gotta find your mission. If not, you will, like, I don't know, have an unfulfilled life. Like, bro, I'm 17, okay? So chill out. I don't know if I have found my mission. But what I can tell you is that the business that I've built in the last 6 months has been the business, and the content that I've been creating around it has been the business and content that is giving me the like most fulfillment I've ever felt from working online, okay? I've gotten people results that have given me more joy than any sort of money from a client could, you know? And this is the best part about it. I love what I'm doing. If you don't already, my mission right now is to help beginner content creators find their mission, create content around it, and sort of build a base for their brand so they can later on monetize it, okay? That is the mission for me right now. And since I've started it a couple of months ago, it has been the most fulfilling thing that I personally have ever started. So one question I still want you to ask. So we've covered that we want to get to the root of this. But what is the like specific question that leads us to this root? So I want you to imagine this, okay? Close your eyes right now. I close mine too. Imagine yourself 40 years from now. You are a billionaire. You have your family. You have everything you ever wanted to have. So now, what would you do for work? Now open your eyes. If you already have what you wanted all this time, if you've already achieved your goals, if you were already a billionaire, if you were already famous, if you were already to have a family, what would you do? This is how we get to the root of it, okay? Because we want to see, like, what work would we do in any situation? And I've asked myself this question. Like, if I were a millionaire already, if I had the family, if I had the yacht, if I had the cars, like, look, you can see this all on my vision board right here. Maybe you can see it like this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to turn the camera, right? But, you know, if you already had all the things that you wanted to have in your life, what would you do? And for me, my conclusion is that I would want to document that. I would want to document my life, my thoughts, and how I overcame certain problems. And guess what? That is exactly what I'm doing right now. Because I have also started with content at some point. So now I'm teaching the people who are just getting started with content how to skip all of the mistakes that I have made back then. So ask yourself that question. If you were to be already a millionaire or billionaire, whatever you want to reach, what work would you do? Because let me make a big guess right here, okay? If you were to be already a billionaire, you wouldn't want to go find Chinese products, build a website around it, and sell them for a higher price to little kids on TikTok shop or something like that. It's like, am I wrong about this? Like, what actually is fulfilling about doing that? What is fulfilling about maybe even like scamming people? Nothing. We just do it for the money. So I want you to ask yourself this one question, and I'll repeat it until your ears bleed, bro. What work would you do if you were to be already a billionaire? And then tell me. So think about this, okay? Because I don't think you would disagree with me saying that passion is a bad thing. But if we get to the root of this, if we find that one thing that won't change about us, even over time, if we visualize ourselves in the future already, having achieved all the things, why won't we start from there? So overall, look at the long term, find the root and make yourself the niche. And now what does this mean? Make yourself the niche. It sounds weird because we always see niches as something like homeowners or business owners or, I don't know, content creators, right? Those can be niches to target with business. But how do we actually make ourselves the niche? What I mean by this? And now this part especially applies to people who provide a service, okay? So I want you to not pick a niche from these like top 150 niches, 2025, whatever. Don't look for the profitable niches. Make yourself the niche by targeting your younger self. Meaning, look at what struggles you had when you were younger. Maybe you were skinny and now you're not so skinny anymore. Maybe you had a crippling gambling addiction. Now you don't. Maybe you, had a bad relationship with your wife and now you don't. Whatever you want to look at, okay? These are all problems that can be solved. So I want you to look at what problems you had earlier that you fixed over time. And by making yourself the niche, you are giving yourself such a huge advantage. I'm telling you right now, once I started doing this, it has been a complete game changer. Because look, back then I used to do an agency serving coaches. I myself was never a coach. So it was pretty hard for me to understand okay, how does coaching work? How do these people actually communicate, right? What are the goals of these people? So I had to hop on so many calls to just figure that out. But once I implemented my advice that I'm talking about right here, making myself the niche, once I started helping people like my younger self, so basically the people who are just getting started with content, it was so much easier because I have been in that exact situation. I have been the guy who was afraid of starting content. I have been the guy who was afraid of people finding my content and making fun of me. I have been the guy who couldn't edit videos. I have been the guy who had an even more German accent that I have right now, okay? So it's crazy. You just have so much insight into the niche without even needing to research anything. And that is one of the easiest ways that I have personally seen to get into content, get into business, and start something that is fulfilling, okay? Because you know the most about your younger self, no one else. And I promise you right now, if you had those struggles, I promise you, there's millions of other people out there who had that same struggle. It's not so hard to find them. And especially if you're doing the right content, talking to your younger self, like imagining talking to your younger version of yourself, it's going to make it so much easier to find those people, attract those people, make them into clients, and it's just amazing, you know? And that is one of the things that has worked for me personally. I'm not going to promise that it works for you. Like, I don't know what you've been through in your life or what you want to do with your business, or if you even want to do content. Like, I don't fucking know. But what I'm just telling you is that this worked for me. So I'm going to give this to you. I hope this has found you well. I hope this is sort of valuable for you and that you can sort of implement this. Because I wish I knew this 2 years ago before starting my agency that was supposed to make me rich, but it never did. Until I switched to a business model that was actually fulfilling, that is now actually picking up. I'm getting more calls, more clients, and I'm more fulfilled in this thing that I'm now doing. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm going to repeat it to you again. Look, I help beginner content creators start and improve their content quickly, help them learn from our mistakes. And I have made sure to build a program that is so valuable, especially for the small price that it has. So if you want to join it, if you are someone who's looking to create content, if you are someone who's looking to sort of build a base for a personal brand that you can later on monetize in the most fulfilling way possible, I encourage you to book a call with me. I'm not a guy who like force closes anyone or something like that. I am generally just looking to help people. Like I mentioned, I am a man of God. I try to serve people in the first place. So if you want to start creating content, like bro, join that program. I'm telling you right now, if you have the small amount of money that is required for it, it's going to be one of the best things that you can do to yourself. So book that call. I'm going to see if I can help you, and I'll see you there. Peace.